Okay, boyfriend, what are we drinking today?
Today we're going to be drinking Guacaros, which is the name of a community in Colombia. This is from Luna. It is like strawberries and floral, like some baklava flavors to it.
Super buttery.
Yeah, it's like washed, but it has like a yeast ferment, so it's a little bit funky, but not overwhelming at all. I think this is my favorite coffee that we've bought this year.
Also, before we start, everybody say happy birthday, Ryan. Happy birthday.
No, don't sing. No singing.
How do you feel? The big 19. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, I feel 1 year older than last year. Death is slowly creeping upon me, which is,
The knees are getting creaky.
yeah, I have to stretch before I exercise, and
Yeah. 19 is a tough one.
19 is a tough one.
Given that it was Ryan's birthday, we thought we would talk about just getting older, different things we've learned throughout the years, and also just answer a few of your questions. So, how do you feel? Do you feel wiser?
I don't think that I necessarily feel wiser just because I'm older. I think that there's like certain experiences and positions I've put myself in that might contribute to that, but it's not just like I get older and I'm wiser.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not actually gonna like change myself until I actively like get better at something or change something without, saying like, it'll be easier when I'm older. It's not.
Yeah.
Life is just as hard, if not harder.
For me, getting older, I kind of associated with becoming more confident, but I also don't think just because you get older, you naturally become more confident. I say it's like the same things that you were talking about. It's like you actively have to work on it. But I do think getting older kind of helped me care a bit less about what other people thought of me. But that necessarily didn't inherently make me more confident. I think it was through actively working on myself, working on my self-esteem, just building good habits helped me with my confidence. So I don't know. I feel like you can't just wait for yourself to get older as a way to get your shit together. You actually have to take actionable steps.
You have to actively be less shitty. You can't just like expect that to happen at a certain point in your life.
Just because you're getting older.
Yeah.
I think I'm excited about getting older. Also because a lot of our friends in Vancouver are older than us. Like a lot of them are in their mid-30s.
Early 30s.
Early mid-30s.
Early to mid 30s, yeah.
Well, some of our friends are in our late 30s.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and it just seems like they kind of have their shit together. They're enjoying life. They're traveling a lot more. So we just have to kind of remind ourselves that,
like, I'm 10 years behind that.
yeah, we're not there yet.
Oh, sorry, I'm 19. I'm 15 years behind that.
We need to kind of just give ourselves time and just understand that we're currently in a different life stage. How do you feel about getting older?
I think a big part of me is like, I don't want to slow down physically, just for the sake of playing basketball.
Oh yeah, true.
Like,
But they do say the what is it? Old man strength.
Yeah,
Comes
yeah.
what, mid-30s, even into your 40s.
I'm gonna be able, like, if I don't injure myself, I'm gonna be able to play into my 50s.
I mean, the reality is that as long as you kind of maintain your physical and mental health, you will be able to continue to play until you die.
Yeah.
Like this.
Maybe not at the same level, but I'll still be. And like that's kind of more my thing is like when like sometimes you play a game and then there's like this old guy that comes by and you're like, oh, we have to slow down a little bit because you don't want this person.
Well, yeah,
to get
you're not
injured.
going to play with like teenagers, but at the same time, there's going to be older people that are still wanting to play basketball. But I feel like, I don't know, like Western society has this idea that once you're like at retirement age, you just have to be...
You have to slow down on your exercise.
Like, have you seen those like retirement home exercises where they're just like sitting in a circle in their wheelchair and they're just kind of like banging drums? And, I'm sure it's great, mental and physical stimulation. However, it doesn't have to be like that. Like, you don't have to be wheelchair bound at 70 unless something happens. You can definitely maintain a physical and active lifestyle well into your 90s, hundreds.
Yeah, but I mean, like, after, like, I hit 30, my, like, window frame of, like, still being able to attempt to dunk is gone.
You're not going to be able to dunk.
I know, but I still have that chance. I have that chance.
I would just say setting realistic expectations is also a big part of.
Yeah, well, I'm only 19. We'll get there.
Just so everyone's aware, he's not actually 19.
I am 19. We've been dating for 3 years. I was 15 when we met.
Don't say that.
I'm not a groomer.
Okay, let's answer some questions. You and Ryan get into arguments, and how do you resolve them? Yes. We actually recently got into a pretty big argument.
Yeah.
How did we resolve it? Time? Maybe kind of
somewhat
giving...
is time, and a lot of it is like giving other people patience.
I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's going to say it, but communication is going to be the biggest thing, is that if you're feeling something, you can't just expect the other person to know what you're feeling. I think we actively had to like sit and also just talk about, okay, this is what I meant, this is what you meant, and not necessarily saying, you made me, or you did this, and you did this, but more so, this is how I felt when you said this.
Yeah, I think it's just putting yourself in the other person's shoes a little bit more, and it's also just like trying to understand that, you know, you are not a perfect person in your own right, so you kind of have to like give yourself grace and the other person, and just know that like flush it all out as best as you can, and time heals wounds.
And I think just understanding that so much goes on throughout somebody's day that you're not necessarily going to know everything or fully understand the situation, because neither of us were there at that point. So I guess more compassionate towards each other can definitely go a long way. But I will say communication is probably the biggest.
And sometimes that's just hard. That's probably the hardest part, is the communication.
Sometimes I don't even want to communicate. I feel like, because sometimes I feel like, of course you should understand how I'm feeling. Like, it's so obvious. Like, this has happened. Why do I have to ask of this? And I feel like that can be a point of frustration sometimes, me having to vocalize everything. But at the same time, you can't read other people's minds.
We've been dating for a bunch of years now, and that doesn't mean I'm any more inside your brain, right? That doesn't mean I know what happened in your day. I'm not telepathic at this point. Maybe at another year mark, maybe once we hit 10. It doesn't matter how long, and like as you grow older together, like things do get easier in certain respects, but that doesn't mean you know the small details of people's day.
I also think normalizing arguments and conflicts in a relationship could just be beneficial to everyone, because I think, especially with social media, a lot of people think that if you are not 1,000% infatuated in love with your partner every single second, then you are going to break up or it's not going to last. But the reality is, like, two people coexisting, there's going to be arguments and there's going to be conflicts that come up no matter how long you've been dating or what. So just understanding that it's a normal part of a relationship cycle, I think just kind of, I don't know, puts it into perspective that it's just a normal part of a relationship, just getting into arguments. But more so, you know, how you resolve them, I think can get better and better over time. You know what's also really annoying that I keep doing is I keep doing this and I keep catching myself doing this. And I'm like, what am I doing? No, because I used to have really long hair that I would need to like tuck my hair back behind my ear, but I don't.
Now you have a mullet.
But I still have this like habit of like, anyways.
I love doing that though. When I would grow out like my hockey hair as a kid, the goal was to get the wings.
Yeah.
And you tuck the wings.
And you flick it out.
And you go.
Anyways, why you guys never kiss on camera? Are you a shy couple? So, should we kiss right now?
No.
The biggest thing is that I think people compare my channel to gay relationship channels. And gay relationship channels are such a very specific niche and very like PDA focused, like a lot of kissing, a lot of touching. And I feel like that could be a whole topic on its own. This kind of like almost a little bit of fetishization of like queer YouTubers, especially couple channels. But
it almost feels like softcore porn.
A little bit sometimes. But the reality is that this channel is not a couple channel.
No.
It is literally just Jolie. So it's my channel, and Ryan just happens to be in it in some of the videos. And of course, because it's my life, I'm a vlogger, he's going to be in it a lot of the times because he is in my vlog, or because he is in my life a lot of the times. But this is not a couple channel. The fact of me going to set up the camera so that we can get a shot of us kissing and then going back to the camera to go turn it off just feels so artificial.
Yeah.
And of course there are ways to do it a bit more naturally, and we have kissed on camera before, like in our previous Christmas vlog, and there's been vlogs.
You can go hunt it down.
Yeah, you
Like,
gotta
it's
go
there.
find it. But we're not actively going to like schmooze it up for the camera, because what is that?
We should overlay some Careless Whisper and just kiss right now.
So anyways, that's why we don't kiss on camera. It's not because we're a shy couple. It's because this isn't a couple channel, and we're not doing that. Not on this channel.
Unless you really want it.
Yeah, unless you really want
Unless you're willing to pay for it.
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
What was the hardest thing about coming public with your relationship?
I just think it was the anxiety in the beginning of you don't know who is going to react how, and mixed reactions from different people, I think, was a little bit like frustrating or anticipated. And because like we came out as a relationship.
That's the thing. Both of us did not formally come out before announcing our relationship. This was our way of coming out. So I felt like it was even more, anxiety inducing, because it was our coming out, but also our relationship announcement to our parents, our friends, you guys. So, and before that, I don't think I've ever really talked about my queer side at all. So it was a very, very, very stressful time, especially because neither of our families took it very well. They probably took it the best that could have happened in their situation with their upbringing and their background.
And like they didn't take it as bad as a lot of other people's families. Like we weren't disowned.
We weren't disowned, but at the same time, like we were completely separated. Like we were already living in different cities. We were already financially independent. So there's not too much else that can really kind of take away at that point. So that's always my advice when people ask like, oh, what advice do you give kids who want to come out? Is that be financially independent, be able to support yourself at least for a little while, and just prepare for the absolute worst, because that could be reality. I think looking back, I kind of wish I was a little bit more private without necessarily hiding our relationship. I felt like because it was such a new thing, it was during the beginning of the pandemic, it was new and exciting, so I wanted to share aspects of it. But now looking back, if I were to do it all over again, I would probably even slow down that.
Just like a little soft launch.
But like an
probably just to your
extended soft
friends.
launch.
Well, the problem was that we moved in really quickly. We did
literally, we had a 1 week honeymoon phase. Because
and then we went straight to old married couple.
Yeah, that's how we feel now. Just because I don't know if we actually talked about this, but because we met at the beginning of the pandemic, for like the first 100 days, we spent every single hour together. From the moment that we met to Ryan going back to work once work started opening back up. But that was wild.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that makes our relationship so unique that, like, when we have kids and then grandkids, it's like me and your peepaw met during the great pandemic. Papa or something.
Papa?
Yeah. And then it's going to be one of those, like, wartime stories where it's like, wow, you guys were such rebels.
You met during the Great Depression?
The Great Pandemic. And I think because of the timing that we met, there was no way I could have ever done a soft launch, because I think at that point I was filming like 3 videos a week. How the hell am I going to not include you in any of that if we were living in a tiny 300 square feet studio?
Yeah.
So it was just something that couldn't be
no soft
avoided. Like there couldn't have been a soft launch. Any travels coming up for you, sir?
I think we're headed back to Alberta.
Oh yeah,
sometime soon.
for the wedding.
Yeah, for the wedding
That's
at the end of the
exciting.
month.
I'm excited.
And then I think we're gonna go to New York this fall.
Yes, there
big New
is
York
a
guys,
New
big New
York,
York guys.
New York Coffee Festival.
Yes, New York Coffee Festival. So we're gonna
Big coffee guy.
big coffee guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, remember to be less shitty. Bye.
Bye bye now. That's it.